redefines and breaking barriers, Jessica Campbell is rewriting history in the NHL. But this story isn't just about one woman. It's about how one trailblazer is changing the game forever. What happens when the glass ceiling finally cracks? Named the NHL's first full-time female assistant coach just 3 months ago, Jessica Campbell has been making waves. And it's not just because she's new to the game. Today, we dive into her incredible journey, the challenges she's faced, and what it means to change a sport where tradition runs deep. Stay tuned, because this story is bigger than hockey. For decades, the NHL bench has been a boys' club. No female voices, no different perspectives. But then came Jessica Campbell, a former Cornell hockey star who grew up playing alongside boys, often the only girl in the room. She faced skepticism and challenges at every turn, from being assigned a janitor's room to change during youth tournaments to being underestimated for her size. Yet, instead of backing down, Jessica turned those obstacles into fuel. Imagine being told you don't belong again and again just because of your gender. When she wasn't out skating her male peers, she was hearing whispers of doubt. She's too small, too fragile. But those doubts only fueled her fire. Campbell decided that if the world wasn't going to make space for her in hockey, she'd carve out her own path. And that's exactly what she did. By the time she reached Cornell, she was a force to be reckoned with. She didn't just want to play, she wanted to change the game. But after years on the ice as a player, she faced a new challenge. Could she transition from being a player to being a coach, especially in a world where no woman had held a full-time position behind an NHL bench? Campbell's journey is a story of persistence. Growing up with a hockey-loving family in Saskatchewan, Canada, she had no choice but to play with the boys, because girls' teams didn't exist. Her father taught her to skate on frozen ponds, and her mother cheered from the sidelines, knowing that her little girl would have to work twice as hard just to be seen as equal. As Jessica grew older, she faced more resistance. Coaches didn't know what to make of a girl with so much grit. She had to prove herself constantly. "Every time I laced up my skates, I felt like I was skating for more than just myself," she once said. "I was skating for every girl who was told she couldn't." But she wasn't about to be outplayed. Jessica's speed and determination helped her compete at higher levels, even as others doubted her abilities. When she transitioned to women's hockey at 16, she didn't just blend in, she stood out. At Cornell, she developed her game and earned a degree in communications, never imagining that a coaching career awaited her. Yet after retiring as a player, she felt the itch to stay in the game, this time behind the bench. From the AHL to the NHL, Jessica worked her way up, using her unique strengths to connect with players on and off the ice. Her secret weapon? A mix of creativity, communication, and compassion. Players know she's got their backs, not just as athletes, but as human beings. And that, she believes, is her advantage. Her first big break came when she joined the AHL's Coachella Valley Firebirds as a coach. It wasn't just her coaching that caught the attention of the Seattle Kraken's leadership. It was her ability to inspire. They saw someone who could bring a new vision, who understood the game differently. And soon, she was offered a position with the Kraken. As she stepped onto the NHL bench, history was made. But Jessica wasn't focused on making headlines. She was focused on making a difference. In a sport that often demands toughness, Jessica's approach is different. She blends rigorous drills with a light-hearted atmosphere, always putting the players' growth and well-being first. And it's working. Even her fellow coaches acknowledge the impact she has, with one saying, "She makes me a better coach." But what's it like for the players, suddenly being led by a voice they've never heard before? Having a female coach might be new for the Seattle Kraken players, but Jessica's presence behind the bench is a game changer. Different isn't bad. It's exactly what the sport needs. She's brought a fresh perspective, new training methods, and most importantly, a reminder that passion for the game is universal. Players now see a coach who's not afraid to challenge the norms. A coach who might call them out, but also lifts them up. And that shift is spreading, like ripples in a pond. It's no longer just about what Jessica represents as a woman, but what she represents as a coach. A commitment to the game, a love for the sport, and a belief that hockey can be more inclusive. Jessica's journey to the NHL bench isn't just her story. It's the start of something much bigger. She knows that by breaking barriers, she's holding the door open for the next generation of female coaches, athletes, and leaders. For her, the goal isn't just to make history, it's to make sure it doesn't need to be history anymore. And when asked what's next, her answer is simple: I want to win a Stanley Cup. She doesn't care if she's the head coach or filling water bottles, as long as she's helping the team achieve greatness. That's the kind of coach she is, relentlessly focused on the bigger picture. For Jessica Campbell, it's not about being the first, it's about making sure she's not the last. Do you think Jessica Campbell's story is just the beginning for women in the NHL? Drop your thoughts in the comments. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button for more stories that break the ice.